name is Miss Hendrickson, and I am the K-2 virtual teacher at Campbell Elementary. I'm here with Miss Amanda James. She is the 3-5 virtual teacher for Campbell Elementary. And today we're going to be going through Edgenuity and show an example of what a lesson will look like. So when you go to log in for your distance learning, you're going to go to the Campbell County website and click on distance learning, and it will take you straight to the Clever site. Then you're going to log in as a student. You might have to search your school, but after a couple logins, it should take you straight to the district's site. And then you will log in with your username, which will be s.firstname.lastname, and then the lunch code, only the 7 digits of your email password, not your initials, just the digits. And you'll hit log in, and it will take you into the Clever site, and you'll scroll down until you get to Pathblazer. And you'll just click on Pathblazer. And this is what your home page on Pathblazer will look like. You will have the option of reading or math, and then there's Odyssey here that also has these subjects. Now, beginning out, you will work on the folders that are already programmed in for you, but after benchmark testing, all your lessons are going to be tailored specifically for you. But for the time being, we're going to do what's already in Edgenuity for you. I'm going to show you an example of what these lessons look like and how to work through them. So I'm going to go into LA extensions, and you'll see the little eyes at the top of the folders. These are saying that they needed to be completed. It's recommended to go from top left to right and then work your way down, just like reading a book. So we're going to work on spiders. And then you're going to go left to right. And as you can see, because I've been playing around in the program, there's a check mark on this first folder. That means that it's already been completed. So you're going to move on to the next folder. And your lesson will pop up, and you're just going to hit start. This is the Helpful Spiders Read Along.
The Helpful Spiders. Read the title and look at the picture. What do you think this story is about? It was a bright, sunny morning. Sammy and Susie Spider ran across the grass and climbed onto the rose bush. Watch out! Mrs. Plum might get you with her bug spray, said Sammy. I don't see her, said Susie. They quickly made their web and waited for breakfast. Maybe today we'll get lucky and get a fly, said Sammy. The clock struck 7, and Mrs. Plum came out to her garden. Oh no! Shouted Mrs. Plum. Next week is the big rose contest. These spiders are going to ruin my roses. Mrs. Plum tried to spray Sammy and Susie. They were filled with fright, and they quickly ran away. Sammy and Susie stayed away from the rose bush for 3 days and 3 nights. Many insects landed on Mrs. Plum's roses. They munched on the petals and leaves and made big holes. Look at this sight! My poor roses! Cried Mrs. Plum. The insects have made holes in my pretty roses. The big rose contest is only 4 days away. What shall I do?" "We can help," shouted Sammy and Susie. How do you think Sammy and Susie will help Mrs. Plum? Mrs. Plum looked shocked. "How can you help?" Mrs. Plum asked. "Spiders are very helpful," said Susie. "Every morning we ate the insects that tried to make holes in your roses," said Sammy. "You were helping to keep my roses beautiful?" asked Mrs. Plum. "I am sorry I chased you away." For the next 4 days, Sammy and Susie caught the insects in their spider webs. There were no insects in sight. By Saturday morning, Mrs. Plum's roses were more beautiful than ever. The next day was the big contest. How do you think Mrs. Plum will do at the big rose contest? "Today's first prize ribbon goes to Mrs. Plum," said the man in a loud voice. "Mrs. Plum, how do you keep your roses so beautiful?" asked the man. Mrs. Plum winked at the spiders and said, "I had a little help from some friends." The end.
Okay, so after the read aloud, you're going to just hit finish. And what you didn't see before this, because I completed the activity plan around in the program to make sure I knew how to do it, there was a lot of pre-questioning before this story to help hit the prior knowledge for these students so that they can better understand the reading. And then there were some comprehension questions throughout the reading. But after you hit finish, it's going to pop up that you completed it, and you're going to hit exit activity. And if you see the check mark, that means that you are finished there, and then you'll move on to the next. Now, you need to try your best to go in this order from left to right, but if you don't go in that order, that's okay. You can always back out, go to the one that you're supposed to be on, but it's not going to cause any kind of issue with it if you accidentally do the wrong. Okay, so we finished this one, and then you can move on here. It's the same story, but in this version of it, in this folder, you're going to be able to flip through and read it
The
by
Helpful
yourself.
Spiders.
And
read the
listen to
title and look at the picture.
And it's going to go a little
What
bit
do you
slower.
think this story is about?
So you'll have the page numbers pop up here, and you can just flip through it and read at your own pace this way. So it's going to read aloud to you and then allow for you to read it.
How do you think Sammy and Susie will help Mrs. Plum?
So it's going to stop on the
How do you think Mrs. Plum will do at the big rose contest?
And then after you get to the end, you just hit finish. But at any time, if you need to exit out of what you're working on, you can just hit the little button down here at the bottom. It's transcript. This will also pull up what's being said so you can read what the teacher in the video is saying to you on any of your lessons. But there's a drop down menu here, and you can hit exit activity. So then you're going to move on to comprehension.
In the story, The Helpful Spiders, what kind of bush did the spiders climb? A candy bush, a rose bush, a blackberry bush.
So you'll just select the correct answer and hit check answer.
On the first page of the story, the spiders climbed a rose bush. In the story, who chased away the spiders? Other spiders. The insects. Mrs. Plum. Mrs. Plum chased away the spiders with bug spray. What kind of breakfast were the spiders waiting to eat in their web? A bee, some eggs, a fly. The spiders were hoping a fly would land in their web for breakfast. Who munched on the petals and leaves and made holes in the roses? The insects. The spiders. Mrs. Plum. The insects did eat the petals and leaves on the rose bushes. Who helped Mrs. Plum? The frogs, the spiders, the insects. The spiders helped Mrs. Plum, and that's why the story is called The Helpful Spiders.
Wonderful web building! Squid can now be freed of all those pesky flies.
So you just keep following the continue and the finish arrows, and then exit activity once you get it complete. And as you'll see, another check mark came up, and then you will answer the quiz. Now, if you want to go back and work on another subject, you're just going to hit your home button and choose where you want to work. Another thing that's important, I know that parents were asking about how they can monitor their students' progress through this. If you look in portfolio, here it will show what you've been working on. So these are just some things that I worked on in this profile just to learn the system a little bit, but the one that we just finished, the comprehension build a web of questions, you can see their score here. And this will also tell you what they've done this week, if you click on, and then this month. So that's a good way to track your own attendance, because your attendance is tracked based off of your work in Edgenuity. It's not based off Microsoft Teams. You have to be in the system working to get your participation. So you can just log out here. And after you're finished for the day, you need to make sure that you always log out of Edgenuity and then out of Clever. I hope that answers some of your questions that you may have. If not, feel free to message your virtual teacher through email, and I'm sure she'll do her best to help you. Thanks. Bye.